Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast, where today, sitting in with me, I am honored to have Chaz West and Jimmy Burkard from Westbound, and a lot of other things, of course.
Hey, Scott.
It's great to have you guys. Chaz, one of the most sought-after vocalists for decades now in rock and roll.
Oh, you're too kind. Come on.
Absolutely. Performing with Foreigner, Bonham, and the Jason Bonham Band, Tribe of Gypsies, Resurrection Kings, Lynch Mob, Tango Down. It goes on and on. Jimmy, a Detroit native, veteran guitar player, shared stages with Billy Idol, Rudy Sarzo, Ailce in Chains, bassist Mike Inez, the Monkees Peter Tork, known to be seen in the legendary Sweet Band as well. These guys, Chaz and Jimmy, played in the Moby Dicks together. But of course, today we're going to still focus on the new single they got out together in Westbound, and it's called Don't Stand in My Sunshine. It's fantastic. Man, Chaz, Jimmy, it is great to have you. Thanks, man.
Hey, Scott.
Glad to be here.
The pleasure. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yes, it's the weekend.
There we go. That's right.
Sure. Westbound, man. One of the many bands that you guys just inhabit and take over and enjoy and give us great music with. It's really cool. This new single, Don't Stand in My Sunshine, really a classic rock tune, right? I mean, it's your traditional classic rock. We don't get a whole lot of that now.
Right. Well, thank you, Scott. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the old school from the blues guys. You want to know how the song was written? Roy Z, the producer, and I wrote that. And we were watching a movie called Brother, Where Art Thou? It came out, I don't know, early 2000s, I think. Stars George Clooney. And what takes place, it's during the Depression era. And when radio first started out, and they're escaping the chain gang type of deal, right, from prison.
It's cool.
And it's like, well, they were told if you can sing into this tin can, you can make $10, which is probably worth a lot of money back then, right? The Depression era. And they had this, the singing group was called the Soggy Bottom Boys. And they had one song. And I remember Royce and I were watching the movie, and we kind of both looked at each other and said, wait, what if we did something like that, but modernized it a bit? The bridge, up-tempo parts takes a little bit from When the Levee Breaks, by Led Zeppelin. But that was, they took it from, turns out, from like some writers back in the 30s or something like that. I researched that and found that out later.
Blues.
So, everything, exactly, whole blues, everything comes around. So that's where the idea came from. And here we have, Don't Stand in My Sunshine.
That's cool. Right. What'd you think, Jimmy, when he brought that to you? And you got something like, Man of Constant Sorrow. That.
Right. That's it. Thank you. You remember the title, Man of Constant.
It's a real.
Yeah. I love it. It's something, I wish I wrote it. It's something like I would write. It's got that bluesy feel. It's got roots that go way back,
Right.
So influences that I like. So and now we play it live. And as you'll see in the video, when that comes out, me adapting my thing on it, but it's the same. It's in my DNA, that kind of style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's cool. And
writing together also. So
what was that?
Jimmy and I are writing together also. So, for the next record. So
we got new stuff in the work. Yeah.
The next record. Well, we had volume 1. So the next record would be
volume 2.
Whether
or not it's going to be called that has not been decided yet, but there's a chance.
Yes, I would imagine. I kind of
can't go wrong with Led Zeppelin and Van Halen, who did the same thing. So right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think we're a good company there. So
yes.
If that's what we decide to do. So
what's the time frame looking like?
Well, there are going to be 2 more singles before that is released. Probably the next single will be late fall, and then another one early winter, and then after that, I would think probably spring. We're looking at a spring release.
Great.
Say somewhere between April and May. Somewhere around that time period.
That's great, man. That's not that far off.
No, it's
give us the singles. We're good.
working our asses off. I know.
Yeah. Well, you got
burning the midnight oil, as they say, Scott. So yeah.
And it's, I love hearing that, man. I love hearing when musicians are busy. Especially veteran guys like yourself and talented guys.
Thank you.
It's we need that, man. We need the appreciation.
It's what we live for, It's our passion. It's in our, blood, our soul, and embodies our entire being. So
we want to keep it out there and share the music with everybody that loves it too.
Exactly
and
right.
People that are just learning. You see the younger kids coming out now, they're digging it too.
Yeah.
So I want to keep it going and share that,
And it's so great. I was at a show not long ago, a photographer as well. So I was in the pit and I see this little girl, and it was the band Plush. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Oh yeah, they're an old band, right?
Yeah. Just a phenomenal band.
Right.
But they're really young. Oldest is
right.
22, I think. So 19 to 22. They're attracting a younger crowd, but they play a really heavy traditional kind of classic rock,
right,
hard rock thing. So they attract old guys like me. So the crowd is everything, and I see these two little girls, and they're just mesmerized by the four girls. And
I remember feeling like that. I get it.
It's so great, man. And it's just because I remember myself 8 years old, shows with my brothers and Kiss back in the day and Foghat, and I thought this is changing their lives. These girls, there's all kinds of things going through their mind. I want to do that. I want to pick up a guitar. I want to sing, or whatever. It's changing lives, and it's a beautiful thing. We need that for sure.
I agree. When I see a younger audience, or at least they're with their parents or older siblings, it's always a great feeling,
Yeah.
And I do feel like, I'll use for an example, our bassist, Jason Cornwell's son, right, stepson, is 21, and I've known him for many years. I'm Uncle Chaz, right? And it used to be a few years he was just listening to hip hop, and that was pretty much it, for that age. Now all of a sudden we're hanging out a few months ago at our tour manager's birthday, and he's playing AC/DC and Aerosmith and Van Halen and Led Zeppelin. I couldn't believe it. I was like, because it's all new to them, everything comes back around again, and it gives me hope.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it gives me hope for the future of music, with the younger generation. It really does.
Yeah, for sure. And, I tried to talk to a couple of kids that I work with, and, about buying records and not being able to, when Kiss was on television, you gathered 2 hours early just so you wouldn't miss it. And then it was over, it was gone forever. We couldn't record it. It wasn't on a DVD.
Exactly. It wasn't like you could stream it. Right. Yeah.
And it was an event. It was something very, very special. You treasured it. And it was the same with music. Yeah.
Right. Agreed. That Phantom in the Park was pretty awful. You got to admit that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
That was pretty cheesy. I was a kid, but I thought, oh, this is really cheesy.
but I thought, look, it's Kiss. That's all I.
It's Kiss. So
it was Kiss.
It's still Kiss. Yeah, you get to your TV going, wow. Yeah,
you got to see them. That's all. That's all you wanted. The only other way was to go to the concert. And for 8 years old, that wasn't always possible. So
you're absolutely right.
Seeing them for those few minutes, it was a special event. And now it's just kind of, you can pull it up anytime you want.
Right.
And like with music, so we need that value back and the appreciation of what you guys do. Definitely.
I second that. Agreed.
Yeah, for sure. Writing, you guys are writing together. Tell me how that works.
Jimmy?
I'll come up with riffs, song ideas, and then send those recordings over to Chaz, run them by him, say, hey, what do you like? Are you feeling anything from these? If he gets a vibe, he'll pick one, two, whatever. And then we go on and develop it from there, like arrangement wise, or, it should go this long here, this long, whatever. no real formula, but it's just you trying to get feels, trying to get a vibe from something, you know.
Okay. Do you ever throw like your scratch vocal on there in like a demo sense?
Absolutely. That's what I start with. Usually he'll send me an idea.
Jimmy ever throw it on?
Oh, me, if I'm not, you know, I'm not really a word guy. I'll sing backups and stuff.
Right.
Okay.
For me, it's all melody, you know,
Yeah,
melody and guitar riffs. I leave the words to Chaz and the singer, you know, that's his. But, but that's what we need to do on this new one we're working on. He's going to come by and we need to put some vocals on it.
Well,
It be like
we just came up. Yeah.
But
normally that's true. And I normally come up with melody first. Every once in a while, I'll have a lyrical idea first, but most of the time it's melody to fit to the music. I just hear in my head, I got the hook, you know, and that's thank God for these things, you know. And then you just, you know, record the idea. The old days, it was a lot harder. I remember having to sleep in a hotel room with a little kind of cassette recorder next to my bed, just in case I woke up with an idea. I just press record and sing it. Right. Right. I think Keith Richards said he did the same thing with writing Satisfaction.
And he would dream something and wake up, you know?
And he said there was about a minute and a half of me playing da, 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 da. Besides that, I was snoring.
Yeah.
I think that's what Keith said. But yeah, that's why these are great. So yeah, I'll sing the idea and then normally I'll write the lyrics. I already had it with the new songwriting. I had the melody right away. And then the title track, for some reason, came to me first. And then I wrote around that. So maybe I was feeling that day or whatever, you know? Yeah. So that's, that's normally the way it happened. The same with Roy Z. Same thing. You know, he would send me an idea sometimes, you know, chord orchestrations. And, you know, I can play a bit of guitar. I would never call myself a guitarist. But every once in a while, you know, come up with some idea. I got something here, and put it down and then take it to real guitarists, you know, like Jimmy or our producer Roy, and say, what do you think about this? Can we do something with this? You know,
so is Roy producing the whole record?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Absolutely.
He is genius in the studio. We all know.
Absolutely, he is. And I've known him for many years. We write together really well. You know, but I wanted to incorporate more of the band on this record, because the first record, there really wasn't a complete band yet. You know, the record wasn't completely done, but I brought Jimmy in like halfway, and Jason also, you know. So this time I wanted to incorporate, because, you know, we've been together 3 years, you know, except for we weren't able to do anything for 18 months, basically. Right. Except for But yeah, so I'm like, well, this is a band, you know. Yes, it's my last name, but it's a band. So I wanted to incorporate. And so, it's going great, you know. So Jim got great ideas, you know. We're on the same wavelength as far as musical styles and influences and what we want to do. And that's great, you know.
Totally. Yeah.
That's why the band, you know, not just a quote project. So
Yeah.
We're on the same page, you know.
That is good to hear. That is good to hear. Any rules when you're writing? You know, does you know, we got to have a guitar solo, or, you know, song length? We don't want to write anything over 6 or 8 minutes, or you know, we got to have a big hook, harmonies. You know, you got any kind of those kind of rules when you write?
Well, not like set out like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to know. It's all a feel, you know. Music and writing is all a feel thing. And so there are no set rules. Myself as a songwriter, I always think I got to have the hook. Now, it's not forced, but I know when I go, oh, that's good, I think that'll work, that hook. And it, you know, that's just a term for it, but it's just more, you know, more or less a great melody, you know.
Right.
And lyrically, maybe like I mentioned earlier, whatever I'm feeling that day, or I've observed something that stuck with me, sometimes comes out. You know, people think like one song is like lyrically is all about one subject or something. That's not always true. Sometimes it can be different things incorporated into that idea, whether you observed it or you lived it, or you know, going back to some, you know, point in your life where you're reflecting on that, and it can be either way.
Yeah. You're gonna say, Brick, Jimmy?
Oh, I
Jimmy.
was going to say, yeah, you're looking for feel and vibe, and you don't really want to put any restrictions on it. I do remember the one restriction when we were doing the first album. I was laying down a solo, and I started doing some tapping stuff. I remember Roy was like, real, we're not going to do any of that on this album.
I got
it. I got the picture. Like, okay, no, I get it. No problem. You wanted more like British hard rock blues. So no tapping. So I got it.
No Eddie. No Edward.
They didn't want Eddie on that. That's not to say we won't put something on this one, but in general, it's try anything, right, Chaz?
Exactly.
You see how it feels.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Sometimes it works. Most of the time it works. Sometimes every once in a while I was like, not quite there. And maybe it needs some more work, or maybe we just move on to something else for now, maybe come back to it. That's right.
I love that raw, organic, kind of Zeppelin free, kind of just it's like a bluesy thing.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're feeling it. We're not really playing it. It's playing us,
Very organic.
Yeah. And that's it comes through in the music, man.
Right. It all goes back to the blues masters, Scott.
I think so. Yeah.
That they were around for decades. That's where the British artists got it from. When I met Robert Plant, I was asking about his influences. You know what he told me? Don't listen to, so I'm not going to mention names of modern singers. He's like, listen to Big Mama Thornton and Lead Belly, and I never even heard of these people. Right. The name B.B. King, but like, who? And then I looked it up. I did my research, and I found out Big Mama Thornton wrote and recorded Hound Dog before Elvis. These were his influences when he was a kid who had big dreams, of doing something in the industry. And that's who he still listened to. He told me,
amazing music.
Yeah,
amazing music back then.
Exactly. Those are the blues masters. Everything comes around, and everybody, takes some influence from a previous generation.
I was going to say,
happening with even, like you said, Plush. Bands like that, Rival Sons, Dirty Honey, both those are bands from the LA area, and that they're all old school, hard rock blues, which is where we're at,
Yeah.
So
it comes through. I mean, it's just, I love that emotion, that raw feeling, that comes through in that type of music. And
thank you.
You put guitars to it, and just amp that stuff up, and it moves you even more. It's great.
Right.
If the band is feeling it, the audience realizes that, and they feel it in turn. And you get that cycle of energy going.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They feel it's real. They know if it's real or if it's fake, and then that's why they're starting to call out certain performers and bands without mentioning names, like using all the sampling, and nothing's real. They're to see through the bullshit. Which I really love. So hopefully, keep our fingers crossed, hope and pray it'll bring it back to, you have to be real. You have to be really playing, It's got to the heart and soul.
Well, and that's, I take my kids to shows and stuff, and we were at a show recently, and I'm not going to name names. The singer has laryngitis. He can't really sing, and it's kind of it's a harder rock kind of thing. A little bit alternative kind of genre, and everybody knows these songs, popular artists. Just do the damn show, man. You want the energy. We want you to enjoy yourself. We want to feel things. It doesn't have to sound exactly like the record, and don't worry about that's why people have the tape playing and the backing tracks and everything. They want it to sound so much like the record.
Exactly like the record.
Just have fun. That's what it will.
If you want that, then buy the record. That's why I love experiences. It's supposed to be something a little different. You know, and I'd rather hear a blown background vocal, a little off key, as opposed to having all sampled so it sounds perfect. And I know, being a vocalist, look, this is your instrument. You're a human being. And when you're traveling things, I've been through it. You get ill, You know, it happens, you know, and then God forbid you're traveling on a bus and you spread it around the band members, and it happens. It's like we're human beings. But I've never canceled a gig. Never.
Yeah,
okay. I've always went out and gave it my best. I've had food poisoning on stage, 102 fever, you know, and there's times, you know, like I said, thankfully I've had some training, and most professional singers have, because you'll never last if you're just singing from here, if you don't know how to use your diaphragm and sing correctly. Right. So, you know, it's different than being a musician. I mean, being a vocalist and a drummer are the most, you know, it's like being an athlete. Let's put it that way, because it's your body, right? I know Jimmy will admit, you know, so even if you feel like shit, if you're a guitarist, you plug in and you're on this right settings and everything,
I can still play.
Exactly right.
I can still play. Yeah, it kind of takes my mind off feeling like shit. Actually,
sound like the way you do. The audience doesn't necessarily know you feel like shit. And you're ill. You're sick as a dog. You know, but being a vocalist and a drummer, it's like I said, being an athlete. You know, and they're the toughest jobs there are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this guy,
punishment.
yeah. But this guy, you know, he played the show. He sang like shit. But he gave
it his all.
He gave it his all. I mean, he was trying. That's great. You know, and he apologized. Song. You knew he was hurting, but he stuck it out. He played these songs. We all know the words. We all sang. We all had a great time together, and it was a unique experience. You know, it wasn't just like, you know, you go to the show, the band plays, they sound great. You go home, you go to the show, the band's great. You know, and that's fine. But this was a unique experience. It was one I won't forget. You know,
it was personal. It was personal.
Yeah, we were part of the band.
Human being too, okay. And everybody else gets ill. Well, now I'm not feeling that way. You know, and I give him kudos that he continued on with the show and didn't cancel like so many guys would. You know,
absolutely, yeah. And I, you know, just after that, I had heard that, you know, and really huge name. Everybody is at the show, you know, all 40,000 people, and he canceled, and everybody went home, and you know, had to pay their babysitter anyway. You know, that thing play the damn show. You know,
I mean, unless you're look, there's times you're, of course. Sick is it where you're so ill you can't even go on stage. I had to go on stage with food poisoning one time in South America. That was the worst.
Yeah.
You try and stand and your stomach's
and we don't want to
take a bucket on stage.
You don't want to heave on stage.
And we don't want to see injury or anything, you know.
We're not wrong, right? You know what I mean?
Right. But you know, if you can play the show, you know, because the audience just wants to, even if you just stand there, you know, have your bass player sing, you know, we're your family, you're part of the family.
Hard-earned money to see the show, of course. And like you said, you might have a babysitter, you paid for Ubers or Lyfts or whatever. I get it, you know. At the same time, it's the unfortunate, because the internet, where it's been a positive thing and a negative thing, there's a negative thing, because it's already on the internet before we were even done with the show, right? Social media. So you have to make a point of saying, listen, people, sorry, because if not, it's like, oh, he sucks. He doesn't have his voice anymore. He's lost it. He should retire. You know, there's all the haters. All the haters. You know, everybody thinks they're a critic these days. You know, So I get it. It's a double-edged sword.
It is. But it's great to see you guys out there doing your thing for sure.
Thank you, sir. Keep at
it. New record label. You know, on Frontiers last time, right? New record label. What is the new record label?
They're called Legendary Artists.
Okay.
There are some friends of mine that I've known for many years. They used to own a couple of nightclubs in Nevada and Northern California. And they came to me and said, you know, we want to do this. We want Westbound to be the first band, you know, that'll be the signing on this new label. They're doing a compilation thing also, but that's separate. And I'm like, okay, as opposed to dealing with strangers again, you know, like I said, I'll always be very grateful to Frontiers, Serafino in particular, the president of Frontiers, and Mario, because they gave me the opportunity and the vehicle to do something on my own, you know, have my own brand, you know, and not just be another hired singer for another band. Like you mentioned, you know, I've done that for many years, you know. I mean, my first break was, you know, with Bonham, Jason Bonham Band. That was in the mid-90s, you know, so it was about time. And I wanted to do this for a while, but I needed to write vehicle. And so they gave me the vehicle. And I'll always be grateful for that, you know. Unfortunately, we had a lockdown after 1 year of touring, you know, here and there. And the record came out, and then everything stopped dead in its tracks. So since 2022, it's been like starting all over again, you know. And so it's real, you know, it's a real blessing. I'm very grateful that the legendary artist said, we want to have Westbound be the first signing on our new label. And so that's what we're doing. There'll be, like I said, there'll be a couple more singles coming out, at least one more video before the entire record is released, probably spring of 2024.
Very cool. Very cool. Any conditions that the label put on? You know, did they, you know, want you know, a full length as opposed to maybe an EP that you wanted to do or something like that? Any kind of conditions that, you know, they want a certain style, you know? That
no, not really. That's what's great. They're giving me artistic freedom, giving us artistic freedom. So that's great, you know. And it's not like, oh, it's got to pass the test before it winds up, you know. So that's great too. And they're like, well, we love the band and what you're doing, so we figure that's, you're not going to go off in the left field and do something completely opposite, you know. I would say the first record was more 80s influence with a bit of 70s, you know, influence. And I think this one will be just the opposite, more of a 70s influence with a bit of 80s influence. So, you know,
what'd you say there, Jim?
I don't remember what it was going to say.
Okay.
But they give us freedom. They trust in us. Yeah, really great people. We shot the video there. Really cool.
That's great.
Got it in Nashville. It'll be out probably in the next couple of weeks.
Cool.
So Don't See Sunshine. We had 8 acres we had with a barn and a waterfall and a man-made lake, and we shot it all over the, you know, and it was really cool because it was the perfect song for that setting. It really worked. You know? It wasn't planned. It was just like, oh wow, this works perfect, you know. So,
I just love that blues harp, man.
Exactly. Oh, thank you.
Man,
thank you. Appreciate that.
What a mood that sets, man. It just puts you.
I'm no John Popper, but I do my best.
It's, I mean, and I don't, you know, I wouldn't. I love his playing. He's a genius with the instrument, but it's not for this. Popper. What was that?
Scott, who are you referring to?
John Popper.
John Popper.
Yeah, John Popper. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be too many notes. Too many notes for this. You don't want that.
I play blues harp. All my favorite singers play blues harp. You know, I mean, Robert Plant, Steven Tyler, Roger Daltrey. The list goes. So, you know, Rod Stewart. So I learned how to do it just because they did. And I'm like, I got to learn how to do this. And I didn't get it for a long time. And then all of a sudden, one day it clicked. It's like, oh. You got to use your lips and your tongue too, unless you just want to sound like Bob Dylan. No offense to Bob Dylan, but you know, that more of that folky sound. I wanted that blues, you know. So I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing, to be quite honest with you. It's all an ear thing. It's all an ear feeling. Right.
It's feel like the rest of it, really.
Right. Exactly.
So much feel to it. It's so expressive.
Right.
It really is. It's cool. It's cool. You guys both veterans in the music industry for many years. What do you think the biggest reason for that is? You know, there's a lot of great players that don't have that longevity, that don't have the success that you guys have had. So, you know, I mean, yeah, you're talented, but there are a lot of talented guys that just don't make it. They can't do it. You guys always find work. You're you know, it's you're always producing something. You're giving something, creating something, and finding success and keeping active. How, you know, and that longevity. What do you think the biggest reason for that is?
I would say, oh, excuse me, Jimmy, go ahead. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, it's staying true to yourself, and true to the people you're playing with, and you know, just work hard. And then also, I think, like Chaz and I too, we have to, it's in us, you know, we have to do it. So there's no plan B. This is what I do, you know, it makes me tick. But the biggest, I think, you got to stay true to yourself, and you do what you do. And people will see that, and you will get the calls, you know.
Yeah. Agreed. You know, perseverance, I guess, you know. I've been through the ups and the downs in this industry. Even, you know, I got my first break, like I said, with Jason Bonham Band in the mid-90s, and it's been an up and down roller coaster since then. But as Jimmy, you know, stated, it's got to be in your blood, you know, in your heart and soul. That's what you want to do more than anything. And you can't imagine going through life without it. And yes, I hate to use the word luck, because luck is basically opportunity and preparation together. Okay. But yeah, some of it is being in the right place at the right time. But once you get that break, it kind of opens doors. And that's what I've noticed. As long as you got to have it, you got to be ready, because you never know when it's going to happen. All of a sudden you get that call or that email or that text. So, you know, that's what I said. It's opportunity and preparation. You always got to be ready. And then that'll open other doors. And I find it's once you're in that circle, you know, all of a sudden the phone starts ringing, or the more, you know, you get texts and emails more often, because they're aware of you. And, you know, and that's probably the positive aspect of the social media too, because, you know, there have been artists now that were complete unknowns, and then they do a lot on social media, and they get noticed by different people, you know. I mean, perfect example, the singer for Journey, you know, he's a homeless kid, right? You know, I mean, Neil Sean. So yes, you know, that's one of the advantages. Whereas when we were coming up, just that you played live, you know, you had to play live, and you go out and you kick ass every night, and somebody might see you, or somebody sees you that knows somebody. That's what happened with me. So, you know, I would say the combination of everything, you know, and to stick to itness and perseverance, and do not give up if that's what you want to do with your life more than anything.
And you've been in your downtime, you're still working. Like Jess said, you have to be ready whenever that call comes. Correct. You can't just, you get that call and you're like, oh, you know, give me 6 months, let me work.
Exactly. That doesn't happen that way. Exactly.
You gotta be ready.
Yeah, and I think that perseverance, you know, me on the outside looking in, because I've known a lot of musicians, great musicians, that have done well for a while, and then they hit that downtime, and you know, they decide to make a go with it with the girlfriend, and then you know, they buy a house together, and then it kind of just gets pushed to the side, and because it's not really working out like you thought it was going to, or you know, like it needs to. You got to be able to live on that bench for a month.
Yeah, you do.
You know, and stick through it.
You're taking the role there, you know, at the table. That's what that song "Roll the Bones" is about. That's what that, you know, it's all about taking a gamble. You know, I'm not talking just at the tables. I'm talking in life and going after your dreams and goals. You know. Yeah. So
that is it. And
you're living on a knife edge. You know, everything's balanced just right. One way to the left, you're gone. One way to the right, you're gone. It's got to be all balanced and lined up. You know, and you got to be ready again.
Yeah. It's so difficult, and it's so great to have you guys, man. It is great.
Thank you.
It's cool.
Tell me, you got to get through the downtimes too, like Jimmy said, you know. And sometimes I wrote some great lyrics during that time. You go, hey, the blues, you know, it's all about, you know. So, and you've got to be able to survive through that and get, because that makes you stronger. And you know, I mean, it sucks sometimes, honestly. I'm not going to lie to you, but you get through it, and sure enough, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know,
great art comes from low periods.
Right. If it's your destiny, it's what you're meant to do. You know it in your heart and soul, you know.
Yeah.
And if you feel something else, that's okay, because this industry is not for everybody, and it's tougher now than I've ever seen it in my entire life.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and that's one great
as far
thing.
as being able to make a great living, I mean, you know.
Right.
You know,
one great thing about being rock bottom, you can only go up. You know, it's
exactly right.
only going to get better.
Right.
So, you know, that's the positive silver lining to that
aspect.
You know,
always look at the positive.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you know, being super successful, and I'm you know, I'm seeing this Taylor Swift thing going through, and of course, super successful. You don't get any more successful than that. But she's, you know, she's got 20,000 people on the outside of the venue, just listening,
just trying to get in,
which is, you know, just it's a whole
bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Well, I gave her a thumbs up because I heard she's really generous with her crew, with her people, giving them $100,000 bonuses, or you know, or more.
Which to me, that's really cool.
To me, I was like, I like her more. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan.
Took care of
different age demographic, but I like some of her stuff. But now I just think more of her as an artist, as a performer, and I mean, as a human being. You know,
totally.
When I heard that, so
tremendous respect. Yeah, that's great for sure. Tell me, you guys, if you could sit down and have a conversation with anybody, you know, snap your fingers, and you know there's somebody in front of you, and you know you can have a conversation, and pick their brain a little bit. Who would that be?
Well, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to, like I said, hang out with Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, Roger Daltrey, Rod Stewart, Chris Squire, and I always did whenever I had the opportunity, ask them a little bit about their influences or any advice. You know, who was the one who really gave me the most advice and spent the most time with me was Ronnie James Dio. And he kind of took me under his wing as a mentor when I was playing with him in South America, you know, and gave me his phone number and said, call me anytime, you know, if you need any advice. And, you know, he said, complimented me. He said, the reason you're here is because I heard you backstage. And I was, who is that kid playing with Bonzo's kid? You know, I understand, you know, a couple of the guys. I knew Vinny Appice. Well, actually, I just met him a couple nights prior, but I knew Jeff Pilson, who was playing bass at the time. So at this point, though, I would have to say, you know, even though he's been deceased many years, be Jim Morrison. Regarding writing, as far as writing, you know, and creativity, that's what I would like to just sit with him one-on-one. And you know, in that vein.
Jimmy?
I would. There's a few. I'd love to talk to Keith Richards while he's still around.
He's got another 40, 50 years probably.
Probably, man. He'll outlast us all. Jimi Hendrix would be killer to sit down and talk with him. Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course, Eddie Van Halen. You know, he's gone. Jimmy Page is still around. Love to talk to him. You know,
Jimmy's great.
A couple
times. Great. A real gentleman, very soft spoken with a wicked sense of humor. You know, he's quick-witted. He's great. But
outside of music, I'd love to talk to Clint Eastwood.
The
former mayor of Carmel.
Man,
man.
Even that. What hasn't that guy done? I mean,
exactly.
Right.
Crazy. And I think he's a musician at some point too. I think he crazy. Yeah, what a talent, man. No doubt. You guys have seen it all, you know, right there. I mean,
I wouldn't say we've seen it all, but you know, lived a lot of our dreams. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty great. What's on the bucket list for you? You know, what tops that? What, you know, a realistic thing that you'd always wanted to do, haven't done yet?
My thing would be to headline Madison Square Garden, I think, and Wembley Stadium, because, you know, I'm basically East Coast and my mom is from England, so we're back and forth across the pond. So that would, to me, would be the highlight in a bucket list. Like, okay, there we go. If I drop tomorrow, I've done this at least, you know, and to have, you know, the next Westbound record go at least gold. Of course, I know these days, this day and age, it's really, you know, difficult for that. But the most important thing to me would be self-satisfaction of knowing I played these two venues that, meant so much to me, growing up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same for me too. Just playing arenas or stadiums and playing your heart out and having people love it, sharing that music, to really make a mark like that would be very cool. Yeah.
That's what I like when I played South America in front of 100,000 people. It was like a great feeling of satisfaction. I felt like a gladiator. I took the mic stand, you got 100,000 fists, in the air. And I was like, this is what I've been dreaming about for all these years, and all the shit you go through, the ups and downs, and people, you're the dreamer, right? Oh, you're living on cloud 9 type deal. They're like, oh, I'll show you. And eventually you're in the right place at the right time. Right. So yeah.
That's cool. That is,
but I haven't done Wembley yet, or haven't made a Madison Square Garden yet. So there we go.
There you go.
We're still around.
That's right.
Yeah, there's only a matter of time, man. Only a matter of time. Tour plans. Anything solid? Anything we can look forward to at this time?
At this point, the only thing I can say is October, late October, right before Halloween, weekend prior, or actually right around there. There might be something in the East Coast area. Halloween night, we're supposed to be playing in Cape Cod.
Wow.
Cape Cod Music Hall. And then November 2nd, it's a venue in Oneida, New York, which is upstate New York.
Okay.
These are the confirmed shows so far. And then November 5th, we come back to LA and we headline the Whiskey again, which is where it all started, where Westbound did our first show, back in 2019. And this will probably be the 4th, 5th time that we've headlined there, something like that. So
always a blast.
That's the only thing that's confirmed at this point. Things are being worked out on as far as routing goes, and hopefully maybe there'll be a few more the weekend prior. But that's what's confirmed at the moment.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, a tour is, it takes a lot of gears.
Absolutely.
To get it going, get it done right, have it make sense, and be better for everybody. It's, it is a complicated thing, and but it's great to know that you're looking forward to getting out and playing this material.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I'm biting at the bit. I can't wait,
Cool, man. Cool.
So
I love the studio.
Definitely.
But yeah, I love studio and recording and playing, but there's nothing like live. There's nothing like that. Playing with the band, playing with people, enjoying it. It's amazing.
Yeah, you get out all that energy and you get all energy returned back, and there's that circle of electricity. It's
absolutely right. It's the greatest time in the world, and you feed off the audience like they feed off you. You hit the nail on the head there, Scott.
It's a natural high. It's amazing.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah, when that gets going, man, there is no experience like it. And I speak as a fan, and you guys get the same thing as musicians, and it's a weird thing. It's a really special moment, man, and I can't wait to can't wait to do it. I have it with you guys, man. When you come down and we'll share that energy for sure.
I love it, man. I gotta meet you first.
We look forward to it also.
Yeah. Cool.
We'll definitely let you know if we're in the Midwest area. I think it will happen. If it doesn't happen this year, it'll be next year. So.
Okay. All right, man. Yeah. I will hold out, and I get a vacation every now and then. So
they give you. Oh, really? Okay.
Well, that's not.
You deserve
that. I can get some wheels on the roof, and
cool.
Playing and come down and visit, man.
Right on. Yeah, man.
Brilliant. And of course, anybody check out the new single, go to Westbound Official. Yep. And that will lead, it's on YouTube also, but that'll take you to any digital platforms if you'd like to order it. We hope you do. And then, of course, the video to accompany that will be out in the next week or so. So I would say.
Sure to add those links. I'll probably have it up before then, but we will.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
links and all the links that everybody needs to order the album, see the video, and get to hear the music, man. For sure.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, Jimmy, thank you so much. Yeah, come back and visit sometime, and anytime you want, my door is open, and I'll see you on the road.
Right on. Thank you, Scott.
Cheers, Scott.
All right. Take care.
Great weekend.
Happy Friday, everybody.
All
Rock on.
right. See you guys.
Cheers.